when you have that, the space and yourself in that space mapped, maybe you feel fine to close your eyes, but you can also leave your eyes open. And just notice where you have contact with the chair, with the floor, or with any other surface. So where your body has contact with any surface. Oh, I see also if you're leaning in your chair or on the sofa, you can lean back. And allowing any images to be there in the form of thoughts, memories, feelings, sensations. So there's no need to push anything away. So that's also it's not about embodying a specific tissue. It's more like opening your whole system to whatever is there in this moment without needing to change it or to do anything with it, just to recognize, to be with that. While you are aware of where you have the contact with the surface. So it's also about decelerating, slowing down, in a way slowing down and opening yourself more kind of to an interoceptive awareness. So maybe the first thing is like you notice your body, your joint, if you're sitting or lying, that it's, let's say that's relatively easy to, the image you create of your posture is relatively easy. So you know if you're sitting or lying or if your head is tilted to the left or to the right, that it's more easy, but to open yourself to the interoceptive self, it's maybe a little bit less easy. That means it's more diffuse. It's slower. It's not as loud as proprioception. And just notice what images come up or what thought in form of thoughts and maybe memories. And in any forms, it can be kinesthetic, can be postural, including also other senses. If you have a memory, maybe you smell or remember a smell or a taste or a sound, maybe some music you recently heard. And notice if one of these images or certain images are producing other images. It's often when we think, let's say you think about a person and then, when did I meet this person the last time? So there is another image appearing and then, that was when it was spring and then spring and this location and one image produces another image and or another thought, but you can be just present with whatever is there. It's like engaging with these images or with one image or with a thought or a smell and maybe exploring the relationship to that specific image. Or if there is, it's like a a coherent image, maybe you can explore that image a little bit more in the way that you explore, was I alone or was there another person? Was it morning? What season was it? Was it inside? Was it outside? Were there some smells? What did I hear? So you can open your image to make your the image more colorful or more vivid in a way. And at the same time, being aware of that contact you have with the surface and how your weight is compressing a little bit the places in your body which are touching the surface. So there is some sponging going on. And when you move, the place where you have contact and the tissues which are sponged change. And notice is it possible you have like these images you had, maybe a memory or thoughts, and at the same time have this awareness of the contact. This kind of sponging quality, cellular, fluid, membrane, ground. And letting your imagination be free on one side, and on the other side, engaging with certain images, exploring certain images. So allowing to come, for certain images to emerge, to come up. And then engaging with these images. And notice if how you feel. So do you feel well? Do you feel nervous? Do you feel safe? And maybe if you feel like drawn to the image, if you feel like it's getting too strong, the emotional component, then maybe bring your attention or shift your attention further back to the cellular fluid ground. So to your proprioceptive and interoceptive self, whatever that means. So it's like a deeper, slower, maybe more diffuse connection to the cellular fluid ground. And you can shift between the cellular fluid ground and image or images which have maybe or not certain emotional coloring or content. Maybe you are surprised by an image. Maybe one image produces another image, or a visual image produces a smell, or a sound produces a visual image. And let yourself be surprised. Whatever is there, including thoughts, emotions, feelings. Maybe you notice a shift of temperature in your body. Many, many, many ways. Even like in a dream, you're in a dream, everything seems so logic. And then when you wake up and you try to write it down, you don't get it together because it's so surreal sometimes. But engaging with the images you have can be like that. It can be a surprise. And suddenly you think about something or a person or whatever, which you haven't thought about for a long time, or like, oh my God, when I was a child, I loved to do this or that, or my grandmother, or whatever, a color, trees, or many ways. And then take a few more minutes to, if you want to take some notes just for yourself before we continue, or if you want to move or rest. If you want, you can also write in the chat. The last 15 minutes we have time for exchange. Maybe it's also in the form of a little drawing, a sketch, or for some people it's movement, which is the pathway. For other people it's just letting your thoughts continue. For other it might be just resting. Or stretching, yeah, maybe stretching is there are many, many ways also to process, integrate, or inviting this dialogue with between the unconscious and the conscious. Letting the images come up and letting the images kind of sink back. Let them sink back into the unconscious, like a lake. If you like, and something is above the surface or it's below the surface, it's sinking in, or it's coming up. Okay. Then I think we just continue with another little exploration. And now engaging with a particular memory. So if you can choose a memory in the last days, in the last weeks, or the last year, or further back, whatever a memory which comes up for you, which was maybe not so easy. Just, you don't need to take the worst in memory of your life, but maybe something you can work with, something you feel you can. Maybe if you say in a scale from 0 to 10, it would be maybe 7. 10 is maybe you freak out, and 5 is, yeah, okay, get a little bored. So 7 is maybe a level you can deal with. You're not overwhelmed, but you're still, you're a bit challenged. So take a memory like that. And again, engage with the cellular fluid ground. So feeling where you are, where you're sitting, feeling that quality of sponging as when you move a little bit. So maybe if you're very still, if you're not moving, maybe you just shift the weight from one side of your pelvis to the other, or a little forward or back. So, or leaning a little bit more backwards, just to engage a bit more with that fluid cellular ground and this quality of sponging. Okay, and then come back to this memory, and just notice what this memory is like. What is it an image, a visual image, like a photo, or is a little video, like a little sequence? It's a situation. You said you remember that situation because it was on that day. In the morning, it was in this place. So it has different aspects to it, and maybe you can play a little bit with that. So when it's a photo, it's just a still photographic image, maybe make it a bit more colorful, maybe trying to remember what else happened there, where you were alone or with other people, or what did you hear, smell, was it day, night? So allowing all the senses to be present. So that is interesting also in terms of the perceptual process, that when there is a strong experience, we tend to focus on one thing and we cancel most of other sensations. So, and often it's the visual sense, the eyes which get locked. So if that happens to you right now, if you have this fixation on a visual image, try to open your perception to what you hear, what you smell, and the cellular fluid ground, which means where do you stand, where do you sit, what's your posture. So shifting your focus if you can. Maybe you know in NLP, which I didn't study, but I just know that there's a whole work on the submodalities, how you change images, you make it more colorful or less colorful, or you make it, you speed the video up or slow it down. I mean, all kind of possibilities. But what is interesting, what imagination allows us, and it's very powerful, is that we can change things in our imagination. That means, for example, we can call for help in our imagination. So we are in this situation, in this memory. We feel the different aspects of this memory, and then maybe we think, who could help me in this situation? And so maybe I can start to engage in a way with my images as if I would be the creator of these images, which we actually are. We are creating these images. Because if you look around yourself, where you are, there's nothing of what your memory is about. You are at your home. So look around. If you're threatened, or if you are afraid, or whatever feelings you have, there's nothing around you which creates that in that moment. It's only you. You create that. You create these images out of your previous experiences. And I know it's not easy. It's not, it's like to say, come on, what do you have? Look around, there's nobody threatening you. It's not that easy. So it's more like, how can we engage with this memory in a way which is breaking fixation. So imagine who could help you, or what could happen in this situation which changes something. Sometimes it's a person, maybe it's an animal, maybe it's Merlin, it's a witch, it's a dragon. It's an imaginary figure, a fantastic figure. Or it can be also something very concrete. So, if in this moment, I have shoes, for example, if I wear shoes, or in this moment, if I slow down for a moment, maybe I would not have fallen. So like there maybe it's just little elements which can be changed. And the question is, do you experience this memory as if it's happening right now, or do you experience it as a memory from the past? And if you can create maybe a little gap which allows you to see that these images come from the past and how they affect you in the moment. How it changes your heart rate, maybe, how it changes how you feel, your breathing. So how can you invite a different outcome of this situation? Maybe you had this memory many times before and it's always leading in to the same outcome. Is there a way you can use your imagination to engage with these images in a way that it leads you away from this same outcome? And still connecting with your cellular fluid ground, the contact you have, the sponging quality, your bones, your proprioceptive self, the way you are in the room, where you are in the room. And maybe these memories, these feelings, remind you or evoke images from another situation. Maybe it was something before or something after. Oh, when did you feel like that before? And maybe you are drawn into that direction, but maybe it also helps to understand better how these images from the past are unconsciously coloring and influencing our decisions and our actions, our feelings, our thoughts. And sometimes it goes far back. When I was 20, I remember I felt like that. And then maybe you have a situation. And then when I was 15, when I was 7. And maybe you remember, there was this wonderful feeling of the grass, the wet grass under my feet. Or there was the water, the sea, the ocean, the mountains. And is it possible to shift between what you feel in your body right now and to be in contact with this cellular fluid ground, your skin and the sponging? Can you be with that and your memory at the same time? And how being with that cellular fluid ground changes the memory or changes something in the memory or in the quality of the memory. For some people, it's impossible to both at the same time. And then take again a few more minutes if you want to write something down, if you want to rest or move. Think or continue to process, to stretch, walk around. And just notice whatever you notice or what's there in the moment, how you feel. If you want to take some notes or And notice if anything has changed. Maybe something has changed in relationship to the memory. Something has changed in your organization, how you, in your posture, the way you feel. And then some of you maybe want to continue to rest or to move or to write down something.